The 7 lucky gods surround Gaul, but Jack interrupts and offers them tea. Bishamontan stops Ebisu from fighting, and they all depart. As they leave, Ebisu warns Gaul not to share what she heard or face judgment. Gaul finds the gods more malevolent than fortunate. Jack is surprised by her mention of 7 gods and emphasizes that assumptions are humanity's greatest enemy. Gaul doesn't understand, but Jack doesn't explain, instead offering her tea. Gaul notices Jack's bandaged body and remembers his severe injury. Jack downplays it, but Gaul insists he rest in bed. She takes bandages and medicine for Brunhild before leaving. The 6th round is about to start with the gods leading 3-2 against humans. Heimdall introduces the gods' champion, who sacrificed everything for enlightenment in just 6 years. Buddha emerges, surprising some humans who can't believe he will be their enemy. Ignoring Heimdall, Buddha stands among the humans. The gods see it as him being curious about humans. Heimdall tries to correct Buddha's position, but Buddha takes his horn and declares he will fight for mankind. Angry gods insult Buddha, but he breaks the Gyllerhorn and asserts his determination to save mankind, even if it means killing anyone in his way. Furious, the gods question Brunhild's plan. She explains that Buddha cannot be controlled. Just before the 6th round, Buddha notices Brunhild crying and questions why she's shedding tears. Brunhild explains her mourning for the fallen. Buddha shares that Zeus asked him to fight for the gods, but he chooses to fight for mankind. Brunhild agrees, surprising Buddha with her calm response and making him wonder if it aligns with her plan. Buddha recalls how Brunhild sought knowledge of Samavadana before Ragnarok and speculates if she had long prepared for this and plotted to involve him in the fight against the gods. Brunhild denies it but asserts that no one in Valhalla despises the gods more than Buddha. Heimdall informs Buddha that he cannot fight for mankind as the fighters have already been registered. Zeus interjects, stating that it doesn't violate the rules since both gods and humans are allowed to send 13 fighters each. Zeus expresses his interest in participating and fighting Buddha, to which Buddha agrees. As they face each other, Odin questions Buddha if he is prepared to make all the gods his enemies. Buddha asserts that whether they are allies or enemies, good or evil, gods or humans, it doesn't matter, as Buddha himself is the only thing that matters in the universe. This annoys the gods. Buddha then inquires about his opponent, and Zeus reveals that the fighter for the 6th round has already been determined. Dark clouds gather above the arena, and voices chanting, "Judgment," echo. A flying ship descends with the 7 lucky gods on board. They confront Buddha while Zeus departs, declaring that he belongs to them. Heimdall announces Bishamontan as the fighter for the 6th round. However, he notices the other 6 gods not moving and asks if they can leave, as they cannot fight together. Bishamontan reveals that they are not 7 but originally one entity. Bishamontan shatters his armor and calls the others. Ebisu and Hodiaisen rush towards Bishamontan and merge with him. The remaining 4 follow suit. According to legend, there were 8 gods, but in truth, the 7 gods were one. When this god descends to earth, heavens fade, fortune vanishes, and great calamity follows. The 7 gods merge into one entity, Zarafuka. Exuding an ominous aura, Zarafuka directs his gaze towards Buddha, vowing to end his life. He stretches, sensing something amiss in his movements. Buddha remains unfazed, prompting Zarafuka to acknowledge his unchanged nature. With a grim expression, Zarafuka brandishes an axe stained with flesh, proclaiming that slaughter is his preferred method. Ares is unaware of such a sinister deity's existence. Hermes identifies him as the legendary Zarafuku, a twist of misfortune turning into a grudge match in the 6th round. Heimdall receives a message that Bishamontan is no longer the god's fighter. Zarafuku has taken his place. He raises a new horn and announces Buddha as the champion for mankind, while Zarafuku represents the gods. Gaul comprehends the meaning behind Ebisu's reference to 0, and ponders the identity of Zarafuku. Brunhild explains that the 7 gods were merely a transient form, while Zarafuku represents their true essence. Initially, Zarafuku was a benevolent deity who bestowed fortune wherever he went, but sorrow has transformed him. In ancient Asia, when gods and humanity were close, some gods dwelled on earth to protect humans. A young Zarafuka wakes up, eager to bring joy to everyone. He discovers a fallen chick and climbs a tree to return it to its nest. Attacked by a bird, he falls but realizes it's the chick's mother and bears no ill will, wishing them happiness. He arrives at a nearby village, dismayed by the people's afflictions and misfortunes. Moved to tears, he wonders how he can bring them happiness. Zarafuku realizes that by eliminating the source of their suffering, he can bear their misfortune. Approaching a child in pain, he offers to carry their burden. As he absorbs it, the child rises free from pain. Grateful townsfolk bow to him as their god, and Zarafuku embraces his mission to bring happiness to those afflicted by misfortune. For years, Zarafuku absorbs misfortune, willingly enduring excruciating pain to bring happiness to humans. Visiting the village, he is shocked to witness their transformation. Devoid of misfortune, the townsfolk have descended into depravity, forgetting the meaning of fortune. Zarafuku encounters a young man, recognizing him by his scar, but the man spurns him, believing him to be insignificant. This disbelief shatters Zarafuku. The chick he once saved recognizes him and approaches gratefully, but overwhelmed by emotions, Zarafuku emits a menacing aura, frightening the bird. The young god is enraged that despite shouldering their misfortune, humans remain discontented. A man leads a group through the village, followed by destitute people. Zarafuku assumes they seek him to relieve their misfortune. The leader is Buddha, munching on beans. When asked, Buddha shares a handful of beans with them. Despite their poverty, the followers radiate with fortune. Zarafuku stops Buddha and questions why they appear so fortunate. Zarafuku confesses his efforts in absorbing misfortune but wonders why they haven't gained any fortune. Buddha corrects him, stating fortune must be earned individually. Quoting Sutta Nipada, Buddha invites Zarafuku to seek enlightenment together. However, Zarafuku flees in tears, jealous of a mere human who fulfills his own purpose. Filled with anger, Zarafuku rushes to a river, consumed by misery and transforming his love into intense hatred. His heart manifests as 7 hair beads, turning his hair black and giving him a sinister appearance. He resolves to inflict misfortune upon humans instead. Spotting some nearby humans, he attempts to harm them, but a woman steps forward to protect her child, causing Zarafuku to hesitate. Struggling, he reaches into the cavity where his heart once resided and divides his soul into 7 individuals, the 7 lucky gods. The gods recognize the danger they nearly unleashed upon the world. They remain resentful of Buddha's belief in leading people instead of gods. However, Bishamantan advises against judging Buddha at that moment, and they depart. Thus, the legend of the 8 gods of fortune is born. Zarafuku confronts Buddha, declaring it's time to pass judgment. He blames Buddha for making him appear foolish and advises him not to hold it against him. Buddha swiftly kicks Zarafuku in the solar plexus, bringing him down and questioning his identity. Coughing up blood, Zarafuku ponders the cause of his suffering, feeling struck by misfortune. Relentlessly attacking with his axe, Zarafuku's slashes are effortlessly evaded by Buddha. Unable to land a hit, Zarafuku realizes the extent of his misfortune. His axe grows in size, sprouting eyes. Ares wonders if he's imagining the growth, but Zeus confirms that the axe has indeed enlarged, absorbing misfortune. The more it absorbs, the larger and more destructive it becomes, transforming into the feared Cataxotroph. Zarafuku swings his axe, causing the ground to split and narrowly missing the audience, but Buddha skillfully avoids the attack. Brunhild observes that each missed strike by Zarafuku adds to his misfortune, absorbed by the axe. Gal realizes that as Buddha dodges, the axe grows bigger and stronger, causing her concern. Brunhild points out Buddha's movement, and Gal notices he anticipates the attacks even before they are launched. Brunhild explains that Buddha possesses precognition, his enlightened state enabling his eyes to perceive Zarafuku's forthcoming moves. Buddha continues to evade Zarafuku's attacks, frustrating him and urging him to strike back. Buddha counters with his staff, asserting that he will attack at his own discretion. He reveals his ability to anticipate Zarafuku's moves, further enraging the god of misfortune. Despite Zarafuku's relentless onslaught, Buddha effortlessly evades while landing precise strikes of his own. The vast disparity in power becomes evident to all. Zarafuku bemoans his string of misfortunes, feeling unappreciated by those he helped. Overwhelmed by misfortune, and consumed by jealousy towards Buddha, Zarafuku's plight weighs heavily. As Zarafuka's axe expands into a massive form with multiple blades, gaining extensive range, it seems impossible for Buddha to dodge. Brunhild realizes why Buddha ceased his movement. He knew evading was futile, causing a sense of hopelessness. Buddha unleashes his weapon, 6 realms. Zarafuka strikes the ground with his axe, crushing Buddha beneath it, believing he has passed judgment. Unbeknownst to Zarafuku, Buddha employs the staff of the 6 realms, realm 4, transforming it into the shield of Ahimsa, shielding him from the attack. Buddha reassures Zarafuka not to fret, as he can handle his youthful rebellion, further provoking his anger. Gal expresses surprise at Buddha's shield, which Brunhild identifies as his divine weapon, the staff of the 6 realms. Each of the 6 realms in Buddhism has a guardian Avalokitesvara, and the staff embodies their power, adapting to Buddha's emotions. Gal realizes that Buddha lacks control over its form. Buddha reveals that Zarafuka's intense rebellion scared him, resulting in the shield's manifestation. Frustrated by his failed attempt to overpower Buddha, Zarafuka transforms his axe into a multi-bladed long sword. In response, Buddha employs Realm 2, Animal Realm, with horse-necked Avalokitesvara, transforming his staff into the club of Nirvana. Zarafuka attempts to strike Buddha, but he evades and counters with the club. In Kapilavastu, ancient northern India, Buddha enters the world with abundance. As Siddhartha Gautama, he is a prince of the Sakya clan, enjoying status, luxury, education, and the god's promise of future kingship. As Buddha matures, his father is assured of the clan's prosperous future. Buddha's kindness extends to feeding the poor, who revere and honor him as a deity. He believes it is his royal duty to bring fortune to the people. While observing a buzzard soaring freely in the sky, Buddha realizes it is bound by nothing. Suddenly, a vulture attacks and kills it. Buddha visits his friend Jataka, the king of Mala Kingdom and a close relative. Though Jataka is older and shares a good relationship with Buddha, he is aware that his life is coming to an end due to illness. Despite Mala's prosperity, Jataka questions if he is truly fortunate. Devoted to the well-being of his people, Jataka ponders the things he couldn't witness or experience. He apologizes for his momentary despair and advises Buddha to let it go. Jataka's passing evokes grief among the people. Buddha attends the funeral, where one of his men remarks that being mourned by so many is a great honor for a king, confirming Jataka's happiness. Buddha recollects Jataka's words and achieves enlightenment. Descending from his horse, he laughs and weeps simultaneously, revealing his enlightenment. Startling the crowd, Buddha scatters flowers everywhere. Approaching Jataka, he declares his arrival and carries the coffin away. Advised to stop or face divine punishment, Buddha silences the onlookers. He proclaims that Jataka does not require prayers or blessings from the gods, as true fortune resides within oneself. As Jataka once pondered the river's destination, Buddha places the coffin in the river, urging him to find his own path. Subsequently, Buddha renounces his castle, family, belongings, and status, leaving everything behind. Encountering ascetics, Buddha witnesses one of them collapse from hunger. Their leader asserts that suffering is necessary for enlightenment, purifying the mind. Buddha, out of his own volition, offers the man food. The people begin to follow him, questioning the legitimacy of deviating from ascetic practices. Buddha reassures them that it is permissible. One day, he saves a girl destined as a sacrifice for the gods, despite warnings of divine repercussions. Ready to confront the gods, Buddha defies his predetermined path. Brunhild discloses that Buddha holds disdain for those who deny their inner happiness or impose destiny upon others. Buddha and Zarafuka engage in ongoing combat. Zarafuka wields 2 chain swords, while Buddha utilizes Realm 1, Deva Realm, transforming his weapon into the axe of Lokapala. With his precognition, Buddha gains an advantage and lands a slash on Zarafuka. Enraged, Zarafuka's misfortune intensifies, reshaping his weapon into the Kataxotroph storm formation, a whip-like array of blades. Despite the onslaught, Buddha employs Realm 3, Human Realm, creating the unfailing rope Avalokitesvara and wielding a short sword, the Vajra of Aksaya. Buddha successfully blocks Zarafuka's attacks, gradually severing the blades and compelling Zarafuka's axe to revert to its original form. Zarafuka becomes enraged by the lack of attention and support he receives, while everyone cheers for Buddha. A spike shoots out from his axe, but Buddha skillfully evades it. Buddha affirms that Zarafuku is the master of his own fate and encourages him to love himself. Perplexed, Zarafuku launches another attack, only for Buddha to block it and express his fondness for him. Intrigued, Zarafuku steps back, questioning Buddha's words. However, as Zarafuku looks at Buddha, he realizes his desire to be like him and to be loved by others. His axe dissolves, losing its power. Buddha remarks on Zarafuku's radiant expression, dropping his weapon and suggesting they continue the fight with their fists. They engage in combat, and Zarafuku recognizes that Buddha understands him better than anyone else. Zarafuku experiences a profound sense of happiness. In a decisive blow, Buddha lands a straight right punch, knocking Zarafuku down. As Zarafuku reverts to his former self, he feels genuine joy. Inspired once again, Zarafuku embraces his original aspirations and his desire to bring happiness to others. His fallen horns gradually move towards him, piercing his head. Growing in size, they enter through his mouth and chest hole. 2 Chinese dragons, one red and one blue, emerge from within him, encircling and spinning around Zarafuku to form a spherical scale ball. A heartbeat emanates from the ball as a person begins to break free. Buddha, unable to foresee the outcome, retreats. Suddenly, a towering figure appears, Hajuin, the devil king of the 6th heaven. Both Buddha and Brunhild are astonished, questioning the identity of this imposing figure. A god proclaims indifference towards the identity of it, explaining that when perfect soil emerges, a wise man would cultivate it. Holding a rose, he ponders the potential beauty that may blossom from such soil, disregarding it, and witnessing the petals fall. Loki observes Hajuin from the stands, intrigued by his presence, while Odin silently watches. Ares inquires about Hajuin to Hermes, who admits to knowing nothing about him. Suddenly, another god reveals that Hajuin is not a god at all, causing Zeus, Hermes, and Aphrodite to turn their attention. The god approaches Ares, demanding he vacate his seat, leading the frightened war god to move aside. It is Hades himself. Hermes greets him and inquires about his intentions in Valhalla, to which Hades responds that he has heard about Poseidon's death. Initially skeptical, Hades perceives his brother's defeat as disgraceful, having lost to a mere human. Zeus acknowledges Poseidon's near victory but dismisses further discussion, pressing Hades for answers regarding Hajuin. Playfully urging Zeus to calm down, Hades unveils the Helheim legend of a berserker. The universe comprises 3 levels: Valhalla, inhabited by gods and spirits at the top; Midgard, the realm of humans and animals in the middle; and Helheim, the chaotic underworld of demons. Within Helheim lies a tale of a calamity born from the merging of light and shadow. The day this entity, Hajuin, the devil king of the 6th heaven, arises, eternal darkness shall prevail. Ares queries why Hajuin emerges now, prompting Hermes to question Hades if he summoned him. Despite his role as Helheim's ruler, Hades denies involvement and ponders how a celestial deity became Hajuin. As Buddha confronts his new adversary, Hajuin manifests a blade in his arm, believing he can swiftly end the battle. He strikes down at Buddha, who defends himself with his staff. Hajuin launches a rapid onslaught of slashes, which Buddha skillfully parries. Gaul is astonished by the evil god's speed but trusts in Buddha's precognition. Brunhild, however, acknowledges that Buddha's sight has limitations and points out that Hajuin lacks the light necessary for Buddha to perceive his actions. Hajuin manages to slash Buddha's arm and attempts a strike at his head, but Buddha retaliates by kicking him away and creating distance. Hajuin extends his arm blade, transforming it into the heaven-piercing demon drill, and charges at Buddha. Buddha swiftly transforms his staff into a shield, but the drill makes contact, emitting a blinding light. When the light subsides, Hajuin examines his now bloody blade, impressed by the outcome. Despite blocking the attack, Hajuin's strike has pierced Buddha's shield and gouged his left eye. Ares is astonished by Hajuin's power, as even the Cataxotroph couldn't penetrate Buddha's shield. Hajuin commends Buddha's ability to evade his aimed blow and forms a colossal battle axe in his arm. Mockingly, Hajuin questions if Buddha can dodge him indefinitely, delighting Loki. Buddha transforms his staff into a sword to defend against the axe, but Hajuin relentlessly launches a flurry of slashes. Observing that Buddha's left side is vulnerable without his left eye, Loki chuckles. Buddha manages to land a small cut on Hajuin's neck, but Hajuin laughs it off and retaliates with a slashing attack, cutting Buddha's left shoulder. Hajuin continues to assail Buddha, overpowering him and delivering a slash to his chest. Ares marvels at Hajuin's immense strength, while Hades asserts that a mere god like Ares can never comprehend it. Hades reveals that Hajuin once decimated half of Helheim with a single strike and mysteriously disappeared thereafter. For ages, he considered such tales mere folklore. When Hermes inquires about Hajuin's current presence, Hades explains that there is only one plausible explanation. Someone has extracted a fragment of Hajuin's soul, nurtured it as a seed, and implanted it into Zarafuku. Ares questions the identity of the perpetrator, and Hades suggests only one being is capable. Hermes agrees and mentions Beelzebub. In his room, Beelzebub watches the battle, impressed by his harvest, while enjoying his coffee. Hajuin evades Buddha's slash and stabs his right foot. As Buddha retreats and Hajuin observes, humanity is shocked by the unequal contest, and the gods in the audience gleefully call for Hajuin to make Buddha pay for his betrayal. Hajuin demands Buddha's surrender and acceptance of divine punishment. Hearing Hajuin's words, Buddha claims that Zarafuku is listening from within Hajuin. Hajuin laughs and declares that he has devoured Zarafuku, viewing him as nothing more than a meal. Buddha becomes furious and demands Hajuin's silence, shocking the audience. Determined, Buddha threatens to kill Hajuin, and his staff undergoes a transformation fueled by the emotion he had cast aside, hatred. His staff transforms into a gigantic scythe topped with a lion's head, 1,000-armed cannon Salakayas. A giant fiery aura backs behind Buddha as he faces Hajuin, with even the gods shocked at Buddha's sinister-looking and out-of-character weapon. Hades notes that it is a weapon that can kill with one blow. Hajuin denies his foe's new scythe as foolish and proclaims he exists to deliver divine punishments to those below him. He intends to flay Buddha alive and demands he prepare himself to die. The two charge head-on and Buddha swings his scythe at Hajuin. The demonic being blocks his blow, but Buddha holds firm and shifts himself forward, pushing Hajuin back. The scythe slips, but Hajuin parries the slash, as Brunhild and Gaul become worried that Buddha has given his opponent an opening. Fire then erupts from the lion's head and propels the scythe towards Hajuin. In the aftermath of the clash, the scythe has sliced into Hajuin's arm, but Buddha has been impaled in his lower torso. Both sides of the audience look on silently as Hajuin demands Buddha speak his last words. Retching blood, Buddha nonetheless smiles and states that he has something to say. Stepping forward and causing Hajuin's blade to stab deeper through him, the enlightened being declares that if the gods won't save humanity, he will, and any god in his way will be killed. The battle reaches a stalemate as Buddha's blade cuts deeper into Hajuin's arm, while the blade in Buddha's side pierces him further. Hajuin kicks Buddha away, surprised that his opponent remains standing. Buddha asks if he is scared, but Hajuin denies it. Buddha smiles, knowing the truth, as Hajuin reveals his origin and the destruction of his host's body. Hajuin believes even his weaker self wouldn't fear Buddha, but Buddha dismisses his strength, claiming he is weaker than Zarafuku. Hajuin attacks relentlessly, forcing Buddha to defend himself. The audience fears Buddha's defeat, but some hold on to hope. Ares and Hades, however, believe it is a futile battle with no hope. The Greek god of war acknowledges Buddha's determination, but Hades reveals that Ares is the one being foolish. Buddha's eyes reflect unwavering resolve. Hermes observes Buddha's attempt at a resurrection spell, while Zeus recognizes his intentions. Hajuin strikes Buddha with his axe, but Buddha remains standing, surprising the demon. Buddha provokes Hajuin to attack, but Hajuin unexpectedly retreats, prompting Hades to laugh at his fear. Hajuin is bewildered, sweating nervously and trembling with fear. Suddenly, he tears off his left hand and transforms it into a sword, declaring himself as the undefeated devil king of the sixth heaven. Buddha activates karma, destroying samsara cycle, propelling himself at Hajuin with a surge of energy from his lion head. Hajuin empowers his sword and slashes Buddha's scythe, severing its blade. A shocked Buddha questions the turn of events as his staff returns to its original form. Hajuin launches a direct assault, stabbing Buddha's staff and knocking him back, causing it to shatter. The gods rejoice in their champion's strength, while Beelzebub quietly observes, anticipating the harvest. Gaul desperately urges Buddha to rise, and Brunhild prays for his endurance. Hajun approaches to deliver the final blow, but Buddha awakens to a blinding light and begins to laugh uncontrollably. He realizes that Hajun has never faced his weaknesses and declares they will defeat him together, wielding Zarafuka's kataxotroph. Gaul is shocked to hear Buddha mention Valinar, while Brunhild tearfully explains that the kataxotroph has absorbed Buddha's benevolence, becoming a powerful divine weapon. Buddha wields the great Nirvana Sword Zero, representing enlightenment in Buddhism. Hajun angrily questions why Buddha is shining his blade on him, and Buddha reveals the souls of the 7 lucky gods behind him, signifying punishment. As the crowd cheers, Buddha and Hajun clash, and the support of humanity fuels Buddha's resolve. Hajun wonders why Buddha remains unafraid and smiling, while Buddha points out that Hajun is actually scared. They exchange blows, with Buddha landing a slash to Hajun's chest while sustaining a cut to his own shoulder. Watching the battle, Isami Kondo sees victory approaching, but Soji Okita recognizes that Buddha is still at a disadvantage. Kojiro Sasaki acknowledges that winning won't be easy, given Buddha's injuries. Buddha attempts an attack, but the pain halts him, giving Hajun an opening. Despite blocking the strike, Buddha is heavily wounded. Hajun smirks and applies pressure, but Buddha releases his grip and causes Hajun to drop. Seizing the opportunity, Buddha slashes at Hajun's chest, making a shallow cut with his limited depth perception. Ares is astonished by Buddha's resilience, while Hermes predicts Buddha won't last much longer. Zeus believes Hajun's next attack will end the battle, as Hades mocks their assumptions, pointing out Buddha's ability to dodge rather than parry. Despite Hajun's repeated swings, Buddha manages to evade his blows, using his precognition to see Hajun's actions fueled by fear. Frustrated and enraged by his inability to land a hit, Hajun strengthens his arm and delivers a mighty strike, seemingly cutting Buddha in half. The spectators, both human and divine, are left in disbelief, while Hajun revels in his perceived victory. To his complete shock, Hajun witnesses Buddha vanish from his blade's point of contact and reappear behind him. Buddha closes his eye, assumes a stance, and recalls a teaching from the Sutta Nipata. He believes that having a companion to rely on and intertwine souls with can overcome any danger. Addressing Zarafuku, Buddha declares that they will follow this path together. As Hajun swings his blade, Buddha strikes first with the blade of the Celestial's eye, awakening, their voices intertwined. The gods and humanity watch in awe as Hajun's body crumbles, and mankind cheers for Buddha's victory. Despite being alive, Hajun attempts a final attack, twirling his blade toward Buddha's face. However, the blade shatters before making contact, and Hajun's soul fades away. The Devil King vanishes in disbelief. Buddha waves goodbye to Zarafuka as he runs through the sky. He praises Zarafuka's efforts and joins the souls of the lucky gods. Heimdall announces humanity's victory in 21 minutes and 37 seconds. Buddha's sword fades, and he walks towards the gates of mankind. Zarafuka's handle attracts a bird's attention, and townsfolk cry for him. Buddha sees Gaul and Brunhild, gives them a peace sign, and collapses. Brunhild assures Buddha of her mission's completion. Beelzebub ignores Odin, who confronts him about his actions. Odin declares his ambition for Ragnarok, and Beelzebub calmly acknowledges it. With the gods and humanity tied with 3 wins each, Hades intends to take the next round and avenge Poseidon, shocking his fellow Greek gods. Gaul is horrified to see Hades as the next champion, but Brunhild believes she has someone who can kill him, someone known as the King of the Beginning. The man suddenly bursts through a wall and smiles gently.